I'm excited that this is happening.
I also wanted to say, before I even said anything about myself, congratulations. I'm so proud
Oh, thank you. Oh
of
my
you.
god.
For that.
Okay, so tell me about yourself, your pronouns, and what you do.
Okay, well, I'm Zakriah Razzak, in case anyone doesn't know. He, him, as of now, and I guess I make films,
Ooh.
but that's like kind of like, it's not like a linear sort of definition, I suppose. I got into filmmaking through writing, so I like to write, but I'm experiencing writer's block, if you can't tell.
Right.
And that I like to read and research. I love to just learn things, which is why like I was so adamant about going to school after high school. But yeah, I just like to learn and read and absorb,
Yeah.
and then what comes of that.
I guess can you talk about some of your projects, like film or otherwise?
Um, I worked on a couple narrative films first year, and they I they didn't come out proper at all. And then sophomore year, obviously, we focused more on nonfiction or just like expanded cinema. And I feel like that's what's sticking with me most now. But I know that that's not what I want to pursue as like my passion. I know that that's something that I can do, and it's something that I've explored a lot in the last few months, helping me come to like terms with my own inner demons and my own like history and my own family and my own traumas and all that stuff. So that stuff is really going to inform whatever it is that I end up falling into next year. I'm expecting like I've been doing a lot of like just researching on literature and fiction themes that I've always been fascinated in, but I don't understand how they work, and trying to see how I can incorporate that into a new idea, a new like because I haven't had any narrative ideas in so long, and if I do, I can't explore them. Like I can't write a character bio right now. Screenwriting just puts that out of me.
Yeah. Have you made anything during quarantine?
Other than my last expanded cinema project, no, I have not made anything. I've literally just been researching. I've been brainstorming ideas and things that I want to explore more. But I learned like a lot about like how to process, like how to conceptualize ideas in screenwriting. But I feel like I can't do it properly when I'm under isolation, like in my mom's house. So, but when I get back to my apartment, I think I might be able to explore more ideas differently. We'll see. I feel like I just need a collaborative space to work. I'm not a very like I'm very introverted, but I'm not a very like solo guy.
Yeah, it's not high functioning introvertedness. Well, my next question was like, what do you hope to do post quarantine, like professionally or artistically, and also personally?
A very interesting question you pose. Because like with everything going on with anti-racism and protesting and all that stuff, I've been like really putting myself on the back burner for at least 3 or 4 weeks now, and like I haven't really been able to focus on necessarily what I want to do with myself in the future, and I don't know if I can really focus on that until like at least something changes with the current climate. I've been trying to like take little breaks for myself and shut down and like isolate and bunker down, but it's not coming to me. Not coming to me. So we'll see what happens once I'm actually in the throw of it in like 10 days.
Yeah. Self care is important for sure. How do you feel like in terms of like personal growth that your identity has like influenced your work when you think of yourself in like the films you want to make? Like, what parts of yourself do you put into your
I
films? If that makes sense at all.
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
You're joking.
Thank you.
I definitely cling to my my own past and my like struggle between my sexuality and my spirituality and where that leaves me. And then I also cling to my mom's stories and things that she's went through, and then my dad's stories and things that he's been through. And then, like, I pull things that I feel like I can, I feel like I can tell comfortably and, like, effectively, but I haven't been able to nuance it properly yet. So,
I think
yeah.
that's what's cool about this past year, being able to just like experiment where things don't really need like a plot or a actual structure, and we can just kind of like express
Right.
whatever we feel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I definitely say that, like, working non-linearly and non-linearly and, like, working with documentary and working with expanded cinema has really brought me to terms with a lot of my past and my own demons, like I've said. Like, I feel like it's very cathartic. It was very cathartic first semester of sophomore year, getting to, like, work with family footage, because I know, like, that's not a respected genre. Like, no one, it's just home videos, it's home movies. That's not something that is going to be screened at a festival, and it's not something that a critic is going to
It
be
could
like, oh,
be.
like, it could be, yeah.
Yeah,
But to like an average Joe, they're going to be like, this is just a home video.
right.
You're not, this isn't anything. But what it was for me, it was like taking my brain and putting it down and, like, really seeing what my line is here, and then just pulling that line out, starting over. And it really helped me, like, just have a relationship with some of my family that I didn't think I would be able to.
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I feel
Right.
like almost everyone in our grade has worked with like old footage, especially and like does stuff around family, which I think is really cool. Like I feel like we all kind of like ran away from home in a sense to like move to New York, but are still like searching for like what family means.
Yeah.
And even though like we've made like documentaries this past year, I feel like all of this is definitely going to influence the narrative work that we like put out in the future. We'll both be juniors at Pratt this fall. So have you learned anything about yourself as a filmmaker or as like a person in the past 2 years? Like I'm sure you have, but like, is there anything specific?
I've learned a lot. I've learned that I, like, really don't like rules at
Mm-hmm.
all. And, like, I thought going to school I'd be like accustomed to rules, and I learn to appreciate them more and, like, learn what to do and what not to do. But, like, I'm learning so much, like, what not to do and, like, what I don't want to do, and I haven't been learning enough, like, what exactly I do want to do. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just learning that I don't like the way things are.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I've also been just growing exponentially. Like, if you asked me 2 years ago what my favorite film was, it would probably be, like, Juno. I think I liked Pulp Fiction a lot 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now I adamantly dislike Pulp Fiction, and I mean, I still love Juno, but for completely different reasons.
What films have inspired you generally, like talking about what you like don't want to do, and what films have like inspired your own films or even art or writing or literally anything.
I guess I don't have a specific film that has, like, inspired me on what not to do. I'd say more like learning about the system and learning about the different systems and the way everything, like, came to be through my film history class, and, like, learning just, like, a different way of looking at film history really taught me how I want to go about creating films, and I just, like, want to be subversive about it. But I realize also at the same hand how pretentious that is and how that doesn't really work. Like, you really can't do that. You can't just, like, actively want to do that, but I do. And then on the flip side of that, I'd say the most inspirational, I'd say, like, Deborah Meehan.
That's so
Professor,
specific.
just her way of seeing cinema class taught me different ways of seeing cinema.
Right, that's what the class is called.
I'd say, like, every film, regardless of if I liked it or not, or if I fell asleep during it or not, or if I wanted to during it or not, like, regardless of any of that, the films that she highlights, and then the films that my professors have been pushing down my throat are really sticking, and I'm like really appreciating it. And like I really don't appreciate when people don't appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm just a teacher's pet, but I don't know. I think it's all really cool.
Mm-hmm. What films are those, if you remember any of them off the top of your head?
I would say Orlando and Sweetie really both stuck out to me, and then also Killer of Sheep, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That really spoke to me as someone who has found like a group of filmmakers that I really love working with at school.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting to see that Charles Burnett basically did the same thing.
Yeah, a bunch of his films are on the Criterion channel right now
Yes.
for free. So they're on my list. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, word.
I will send you the link after this.
Please do.
Yeah.
There are lots of films that I think the world needs to see. Like McCabe and Mrs. Miller. This is my new favorite film of all time. McCabe and Mrs. Miller by Robert Altman is like, after Jeff showed it to us, it's been my new favorite film. Also, my global contemporary cinema class showed 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, and then also showed Tuki Buki, which is a wonderful little Senegalese film. And there's just many different just influences and experiences that I wish everyone could see, but I'm trying to find them online. They're not accessible. Outside that.
Yeah. I guess with these films, like, what's your favorite thing about them, or is there like a common denominator between all of them that you like kind of take away?
I'd say the common denominator is definitely the subversiveness of them and how they actively go against things that are shoved down our throats by main systems, typically. Like with McCabe and Mrs. Miller, it goes actively against communism, against the role of the hero in the narrative, against masculinity, against the hero being correct, the hero being a hero, the hero winning at the end. It goes against all of these tropes, but it does it in a way that's not like, it does it in a real and authentic way. And then films like Tuki Buki go against colonialism and go against capitalism again. And then 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days goes against communism at the same time. And then you just get to see non-Eurocentric or non-like male white ways of seeing things, and that really speaks to me. I've always really hated history classes until coming to Pratt, which is something that's really...
Yeah. I've really enjoyed all the films that we've seen in our classes and how like strange they can be too. I feel like that gives it has a lot more substance definitely than like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood or something like that. It's, you don't need to. It's bad. It's only like the very, very end is like interesting. So,
of course.
You know. But what is your favorite part of filmmaking, or do you feel like there's anything that like defines your style or like yourself as a filmmaker so far?
I really wish there was find my style, because I feel like that's such an important thing, but it's something that has to come authentically, and I feel like I'm forcing it too much. But I think someone else will be able to tell me what my style is. I don't know what it is, but it's something that's probably there in my work somewhere. And
I can see it. Like, I can't really specify it, but if I could like see a timeline of your work, I'm like, this makes sense. Like, this is about the same person.
But I'd say my favorite part of filmmaking would be directing. Definitely. Like, I've always been someone that likes to be, not necessarily in control, but someone who likes to delegate, and someone who likes to, be told what to do, and then, like, absorb that, and then, like, tell, and then, like, share, collaborate. I feel like that's, like, the most important part about directing is the collaboration process, and I feel like I really enjoy collaborating with people with, like, minds as my own, and then, like, getting their advice and letting them help me and letting them into my little tiny bubble of filmmaking, and then excelling from that and not excelling from just tackling everything on my own. So that's something that I've really missed in the last semester or so. I've really missed being able to come together and, work on a passion.
Yeah.
and I just really like directing.
You're definitely good at that because I don't like directing because I feel like it's a lot of like pressure on myself, but I feel like you do a really good job at like bringing everyone together. Um, like for your expanded the personal doc, um, where it was like me, like you, Denton, and Anahita and Mackie. Like I always think about what's it the thing called with Jack Frost and the Easter Bunny and Santa?
Oh,
And,
I know what you're talking about, but
yeah,
I
like
can't remember.
that's just how it felt to have like all of us sitting at a table and like listening to you and like doing what you want because like we love you and we want to like have this be successful. So I feel like that position is like good for you, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like,
Yeah.
I just really love the pressure of it. I wouldn't say I thrive on it, but I can definitely like absorb it and then like redirect it in a way that works for me,
Mhm.
rather than let it just take me down.
Mhm.
And I also agree, it did turn out very well, and it's all thanks to my team.
Ah, we love you. You took directing actors this past year. How was that? And I guess what's your experiencing with directing actors?
I could cry right now. I
Why?
could just cry because I had it. It was so perfect. It was probably my favorite class ever. And I love Matt so much. And I mean, obviously he knows that. And then I was having so much fun, like each Friday morning, looking forward to it, going to directing actors with Matt and with my class. And then it was all just taken away. I couldn't do it like post-quarantine. And I didn't do the final. Like, it was just really bad. But it was the most fun I had in a class ever for the first 7 weeks. And I'm just really upset that I didn't have the whole experience of it, but I'm also really grateful that I had a different experience than anyone else other than my classmates did end up having. And the stuff that they were able to produce under quarantine is really commendable. Like, they made some really great, like, directing actors scenes out of nowhere, just like pulled completely out of their asses on Zoom calls. It was really, really, really cool, and I wish I could have done that, and I didn't. So like, it's directing actors was really heartbreaking for me, I'd say, and I genuinely could not say this enough. I genuinely recommend every film major takes it.
Like, what will you take away from that class, or like, how has your directing approach changed? Like, what, like, I guess, what's your like plan for whatever your next narrative project is?
That definitely shaped me as a like character director and actors director. Like, if you can't direct your actor properly, you can't really make a narrative film properly, and like that's something that I I never knew. Like, I've been explained how to be an actor before, but I've never had such a hands-on experience with like acting on my like I've become an actor myself from the class. Like, I can act now, whereas
Yes.
or I wouldn't say that I am an actor, but
Right. But you can't do
I
it.
can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I can work on your film. I can work on a friend's film if I felt so inclined. But like, I can also direct an actor. Like, can't say that I could direct an actor before that class. Looking back, I may have thought I could, but the main reason why my films weren't coming out properly was because I wasn't directing my actors properly. And you have to. There's just so much that you have to do, and like I can't explain it all. You really have to just take.
Got it. Got it.
It's just really. I would say like my film, like in expanded cinema, the film that we had to do, the scene recreation that we had to do.
Yeah.
I everything I did for that film was based off of what I learned in directing actors. Like, I took Erica Larson aside, sat her down, and just made like we built this character up from this movie that I had seen, and then I set her free in my apartment, and that was literally the project that made me fall back in love with directing again. And I could say so much.
It sounds like it's like a sort of like trust exercise where like you both have your roles and it's about like kind of coming together to just let each other do what each other needs to do, but
Exactly.
also informing each other on how, like, you as a director, like, operates, like, what you're thinking about, like, what you want, and how an actor can take that in. And
Yeah, like
yeah.
you can't control everything. Like as the director, you can't control everything. You have to get your actors together with you. You have to let them put their ideas into their character because this is their art. They're giving me their art to work with, and so I have to see what they can do and what they have to offer me before I can set in stone what I want from this character. Because it's be different for whoever's playing it, and you can't just look at a character, read a line, and get it. You can't do that. You have to develop it, and you can only develop it with the actor. And
Yeah, that's interesting. I wish we were like taught how to cast, because what was so scary, like with Fiction One, like having to like find actors. It's like, how do you even do that? And I think for me, like something that's like in the past has like held me back with screenwriting is that I want to like base characters or stories around like people specifically, and like their just their character naturally. So even if like an actor is playing like a fictional role, I like them to be able to match that a little bit, or at least be able to like, so that it's real. Because I feel like if the personality of the person is like so far off, it's like weird.
Matt tells you exactly how to do all that.
Oh
The
my god.
last class the last like 4 classes that we had were all devoted to the casting process. We all had to like cast ourselves for our role, and we all had to audition. We all had to take notes and select and things like that. It was really fascinating, and I've never held an audition properly before, and now I will never not. Well, like unless I'm specifically trying to get like a non-actor or a non standard sort of like documentary sort of feel to my character, I will always be holding a professional audition process. You cannot cast without it. Like I have learned how crucial it is, and I'm not going back
Yeah.
ever. Also, another thing I learned from that class is a good director can take a bad actor and elevate them. You have to just know how to work with the person, and if you can't work with that person, then you can't cast them
Mm-hmm.
in that role.
Whoa. Well, is there anything else that you want to touch on?
Um, you're a shining beacon of light, and I'm so happy to have
I'm so glad you're in
you. Me too.
my life. I cannot wait to work on films with you again.
Hey,
It's gonna
I don't
be.
think I've ever worked on one of yours.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like every time I make a film, I'm like, I can do everything. Like I can do camera and sound and everything, and it's so annoying. But I feel like this upcoming year we'll all be working on like even bigger projects, so we'll
Right.
like need each other even more.
It'll be very important to have your team,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have to help each other out.
Yes, yes. We're gonna be like the Avengers. Like it's gonna